heard about mindset before the first session of cultural proficiency? How many of you have heard of the book Mindset by Khia Brown? How many of you have read the book? Oh. All right. Like I said, mindset ties in really well with cultural proficiency, and we have the privilege of having one of our teaching and learning coordinators, Cathy, Kindem here, and I call her the guru of mindset. But I think you're really going to enjoy the second part of our morning. Cathy has some great activities for us to implement the strategies and think deeply about mindset. So once again, welcome Cathy, and I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you today talking about mindset. I was here for your cultural proficiency session as well, and hope to be able to link the learning on the levels of learning and other comments that were made also in the work with mindset. I invite you to just pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and I'm looking forward to our time together. And just think about how you want to be present in the next couple hours. So, as Khia mentioned, we're going to be talking about mindset and also talking about why mindset matters. And I'm hoping that at the end of our time together, you'll see reasons why mindset matters not only to your work with students or adults or parents, but also have an energizing look at how mindset will help you personally as well. So let's get started here. We'll first dive into what is mindset, and then also a second part really focusing on what does it mean to cultivate mindset and teach and lead with a mindset. Although I'm here in front of you today, there's many other people I'm bringing with me and many of their ideas, and one of the books already mentioned, Carol Dweck's work on mindset from Stanford University. How many have heard of Joe Bowler? Okay, Joe Bowler is also from Stanford University, and her focus is all on mindset and mathematics. And so we know that that's a continuous growing area as well. So I'm excited to bring lots of other researchers and teacher ideas with me today. Also, with this 2 hours, I want you to know ahead of time when we know more than ever before about how students and also adults learn. And so we're going to be focusing on the bottom end of this pyramid where we have discussion groups, practice by doing, and also the opportunity to teach and learn with one another. So active learning this morning. You have, during break, new handouts added to your table. They're either in a yellow or brown folder. I'll be referencing this throughout our time together. What I'd like you to do is one person would be willing to look at the folder, and you're pulling out paper clips, the main handout that we'll be working with today. And if you would make sure that everyone at your table receives one of those. I'd like to reference what is on the front cover, which is what you see here. Notice that I'm inviting you to do your own note-taking, so what is going to be important to you can be put into the little boxes there. And also plenty of white space and also font that encourages some doodling. My background is in science and STEM, and there's continued research that doodling just opens creative pathways. Doodling also helps keep us focused and concentrated on the topic, and it also can allow for deeper learning. So feel free if you're sketching and adding to your handout. I'd love to see that. So we're going to start right away with thinking about what does mindset mean to you. And you'll notice on that front cover there's an outline of a brain. I'm going to ask that you fill the inside of the brain outline with some words or short phrases about what mindset means to you as of right now. to ask that you explore mindsets and your current thinking around this with someone at your table. You'll notice right below the brain mindset, we have a Venn diagram. And you're going to partner up and explore and share with one another what were your words or phrases, wonderings or questions. If there's something similar between you and your partner, you'll put it in the middle. And if there was something that neither of you had that was unique, you'll put it on your side. Okay? So let's have a few minutes sharing what does mindset mean to us. Three, two, and one. So just like this morning, I'm hoping there was a variety of responses, maybe a new perspective on mindsets, someone that has done some additional reading, or perhaps a class that's taken, being able to add, perhaps you added something new in the middle that you hadn't thought of before. There's kind of a main two ways of categorizing mindset, but there's many other ways. There's positive mindset, innovative mindset. But Carol Dweck's work from Stanford University, in which she has explored people's self-theories of intelligence, divides that people have either one of two views, a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And I'm going to invite us to watch a short animation that's going to describe the two mindsets. As you watch, be thinking about what is connecting to what you and your partner discussed in your Venn diagram activity, or what might be new.
What is a growth mindset? We can liken the theory of growth and fixed mindset to the story of the tortoise and the hare. To have a fixed mindset means to believe one's basic abilities, intelligence, and talents are just fixed traits. A growth mindset means that you understand that talents and abilities can be developed through effort, practicing, and persistence. People with a fixed mindset often develop and peak before their peers, appearing to be more intelligent and successful than everyone else. However, this is a dangerous trap to fall into. The moment we believe that success is determined by an ingrained level of ability, we will be brittle in the face of adversity. This is what happens to the hare. The tortoise, however, with a growth mindset, continues to power through and work hard, overtaking the hare eventually and winning the race. Nice one, Terry.
Thanks, narrator.
You're welcome, Terry. How many of us think ourselves as not maths people, or creative, or sociable, or athletic? If we are to fulfill our potentials, we have to start thinking differently. We are not chained or bound to our current abilities. Take this tree, for example. It needs to be fed with lots of minerals and food for it to grow, just like you do. By continuing to nurture and care for this tree, it can grow taller and stronger than other trees. The trunk and branches will literally explode with growth, just like your brain. Your brain is malleable and physically can change size and grow. Even more so at a young age, the activity and growth of the brain during your short teenage years is phenomenal. So how do you do this? Well, there's no shortcut or secret solution. It's as simple as hard work, commitment, and perseverance. In any chosen field or career path, you are certain to have some level of failure at one point. But at each pitfall we come across, you must learn to overcome it. There is a popular movie quote that goes like this: "Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up." Batman wasn't born with any superpowers, abilities, or talents, and just as Gotham's Dark Knight understood, he had to train relentlessly to succeed. So must you. Right now, these fixed mindset learners might be ahead of others, but they are afraid of failure. And when they reach the peak that they're comfortable with, they'll just stay there. They will never reach their full potential. Failure is the most essential step to success, and as the growth mindset continues to improve, they will overtake the rest. If you feel like you're in a fixed mindset, don't lose hope, because there is a lot we can do to change that. but start by listening to our fixed mindset voice, and when you hear it, talk back with a growth mindset voice. If you hear "I can't do it," add "yet." Fixed mindsets can change. So what mindset are you in?
Okay, so that's an example of one of the videos that we have some of our middle school teachers using in science and math classes with students. Again, letting students know that your brain is a muscle and it can grow. So when we think about fixed and growth mindset, I wanted to share with you a graphic that kind of unpacks those terms a little bit more. When we think about mindset, again, we're thinking about your belief, that identity piece, and you're focusing on some characteristics. Look at that with mistakes. Okay? Either you're thinking of them as an opportunity or you're trying to avoid them. Feedback, either you like it and you see it as a way of improving, or you take it very personal, you're offended when someone gives you some critiques. Challenges, you're very easy to give up, maybe you don't even try. Well, a growth mindset, you work through it. Effort. If you have a fixed mindset, you're really focused that if you were good at it, you could just do it. So if you're having to work at it, I must not be that type of person. But if you have a growth mindset, you're really focused on the learning. Okay? The main difference is there at the top, that you either believe you have your ability that you have in a certain area or that it can be grown. The good news about mindset is that we all have a little bit of both, depending on the situation. So it's a matter of acknowledging it and being aware of it, and then as the video talked about, having some strategies to confront a fixed mindset. So we're going to do a little more unpacking about these beliefs and kind of just see personally where we might be, but thinking about feedback, mistakes, challenges. So in your packet of handouts, you'll notice that there's a large bag, and in the bag is going to be some paper-clipped phrases related to mindset. Each person is going to have a set, and you're going to be asked to unflip them and begin to look at them. When you think about sorting, you'll notice that I haven't given any specific ways to sort them. You might initially be thinking about, as of today, this is something that I have seen in my students. This is something that I haven't. You could take it with a personal lens. This is something that I see myself with my family. Hey, this is an area that's a not yet. However you would like to look at the cards, but I encourage you to try to put them in at least two piles. What would be your category? This is something that I'm strong in and I firmly believe in, or this is something that I need more information on to make it a practice. So go ahead, this is a personal reflection. I invite you to keep those cards handy. Throughout our time together, we're going to go back to the cards and kind of think about it and ask more information. There might be new thinking around one of those belief statements. As we think about cultivating a growth mindset, we think about these items and the choices that we're making, what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to. And also when we think about the nested levels of learning, we know that beliefs and values lead right into identity. And so in any of those statements, if failures are not learning opportunities, if it's hard in certain areas to think that feedback is an opportunity for growth, all of a sudden the TDE process or another mentor or a student teacher coming in is a different experience. If the potential to learn and grow in your team is not unlimited, that again, it goes back to that nested levels of learning, the environment affecting the behaviors, the capabilities, our beliefs, and then our identity. So let's unpack this a little bit more. Again, in the video, it started to begin to think about if often comes out what we're thinking, turns into action and also language. So when we think about a challenge, maybe it was learning a new digital tool, or perhaps the interpreter process. It was something new. Are you sure you can do it? You know, maybe I just don't have the skill set. A growth mindset says, again, that I might not be able to do it yet how I want to do it, but I'm on my way. A fixed mindset, you know, if you blow it in front of the group today, you're a failure, right? A growth mindset, though, remembers most successful people have had some failures along the way. When you hit a setback, man, this could have been a snap if I really had the talent. If I was really a good teacher, I would be able to do this. But the growth mindset knows, no, that's wrong. Okay? Even some of our most famous heroes, okay, they had a passion, but they had to work a lot to get where they are. Now, this plays into a lot around identity and what it means to be smart. And even our very youngest learners will kind of unpack, have a way of knowing kind of where they fit within the classroom. There's been more research around asking students that are a little bit older so they can have some verbal skills, but asking them to kind of put in an order their classmates' abilities, either in reading or math. And then they separately ask the teacher to do the same thing. Guess what? The lists match. So even though we might not purposely be doing something or saying language, our environment and perhaps our nonverbals are communicating what we believe about intelligence. So when do you feel smart? Maybe you're going to think about a student, your own child, yourself. Do you feel smart when you don't make any mistakes? When you finish something really fast before everybody else? Again, when it's easy for you, oh yeah, no problem. I can set up that computer and work the sound system, but you know that other people in the room can't. A fixed mindset, when we think about looking smart, is about perfection. It's about being, not becoming. A growth mindset on when do you feel smart is again that idea of you're going to try really hard and you know that you might need to work on it a long time to get where you want to be. But it's all about that challenge and the opportunity and the process. So when we go back again to the mindset characteristics, in all of these situations, we fluctuate depending on the situation. So I'm going to ask you to think about fixed and growth mindset in areas maybe other than intelligence. Okay? How malleable, meaning that it can change, do you think someone's driving is? How about creativity? Drawing ability? What about someone's emotions? Their spelling? Their empathy towards someone else? Their ability to stay focused? Someone's ability to self-regulate themselves? Your ability to swim or run? Your shyness? Networking skills? So growth and fixed mindset is everywhere and affects all areas of our lives. The good news is, though, again, we have a choice. All of these things are just in our mind, and we can change our mind. So I'd like to give you a moment to just think about mindset and one of these four areas. Either how have these initial ideas connected to what you already knew? What maybe new ideas are challenging you? And maybe already you're thinking about a way that you might put into action with some new information. We'll just take 2 minutes. You can do this individually or with someone at your table. And 1. So if we take a moment to think again about our conversations this year around cultural proficiency and the inside-outside process, mindset fits. Again, often we start with what are our thoughts and knowing that we can change our thoughts. It might be the first thing that comes to mind, but it doesn't have to be the next thought or the last thought. That's the same with mindset. So let's take a look at how you might solve this math equation, right here, word equation. What's in the box? All students can learn. Maybe students aren't learning, maybe to our full potential. First of all, I challenge you to think about quantity. How many things might represent that question mark? And then also think about diversity of thought. Do you think you might have something to go in the box that no one else at your table might have thought of? We're going to come back to this equation. Well, we're first going to do a little challenge first. So I invite you to turn over your handout, and you'll notice that there's a smaller version of the slide in front of you. The question is, what makes 100%? You'll notice each of the letters are represented, and below the letter is a number. The 2 questions are, how much is knowledge worth, and how much is attitude worth? Working, and feel free to use your resources, example, your phone. You take knowledge, each of those letters, so K, looking at my chart, is 11. Plus N is 14. I encourage you to work with someone. Try also maybe some of your mental math skills as well. Feel free to divide at the table. One works on knowledge, one works on attitude. Mindset, if you would say matters. When I say mindset, if you would say matters. Mindset. So make it 100%. So attitude. Hard work was close. Knowledge is close. I'm thinking about just personally. Do you believe that? That your attitude might mean just a little bit more than how hard you work or how much you know. And then think about even your youngest learners, your parents, those that might report to you. Do they feel that you value them? Do you value attitude over skills? So let's take a look at how this might play out. There's continued research on growth mindset. A newer book out on mindsets in the classroom has surveyed hundreds of students. And take a look at the changes as they go through our education system. Those youngest learners, and you can imagine before kindergarten or pre-K infants, everyone has a growth mindset. I can do anything. Already by 3rd grade, it's almost half in there. They start again thinking about what it means to be smart is I don't make any mistakes. I start choosing teachers, projects, activities, so I don't have to be challenged or look like I'm not as smart as I want to be. Imagine some of you that might teach our adults or parents or those returning to education. Where might their mindset be? And how might this information be helpful to them on their learning journey? It also applies when you think about students that what happens after reading District 186. The Twin Cities, and part of my opportunity in the district is working with business and community partners. And so we think about workability skills. The Twin Cities is in the top 10% of high-tech hubs in the nation. And these, it's a little bit small, but what are the top 10 work skills? And I would say Minneapolis and St. Paul and Rosemont, Eagan fits in this. That top one there says ability and willingness to learn. Thomson Reuters, Equinor, Ecolab, they're all great partners of the district. And they reiterate that they're looking for people that are willing to just learn and also take initiative. The others are abilities to synthesize information, to problem solve, to work with others, to collaborate. When we think of John Hattie's work and the impact on learning, this is a powerful quote. It's how we think, not what we do. That's going to make the biggest difference for our learners, no matter what age. And this is all the way through the system. So those of us that are at the district office, what we think about what's happening in the building and how we want to empower and build the capacity of staff at the building level, and then teachers impacting students. So what we're thinking, our attitude. This is a nice graphic, I feel, because it shows that mindset messages are being said all the time. This relates to that nested levels of learning, starting with the environment. What we think about what it means to be smart, to be successful, goes into the tasks we give or don't give a certain student. The question we ask or don't ask. How we grade, what is our feedback, how we feel about mistakes, how we pull a small group of learners together, what our expectations are for our community. For example, one of the areas that I work with is math. And so often we think about a struggling learner, we might have to just do the basics. Right? So we might ask questions that are lower level, like 5 minus 3. 2. What if we ask a question like, is there ever a time when 5 minus 3 isn't 2? I would argue there is. Okay? Imagine maybe 5 bunches of grapes and you eat 3 of them. Okay? There's more than 2 grapes left, right? Okay? But if we have a certain mindset about a struggling group of students, we may not ask those types of open-ended questions. Okay? So mindset is communicated in everything that we do. So if we know that attitude trumps, it's close, but it trumps what we know about good teaching and how hard to work, come in early and stay late, work over the weekends. That attitude is more important. So let's take a look. We have another fun activity, I hope, for you in the handout. It's labeled mindset quotes. And there should be some hard stop quotes for you. Because you're going to be asked to make some judgment and evaluation. You're going to be asked to read the 3 quotes in your hand, and you're going to select the one that's most meaningful to you today out of those 3. Then you'll take the other 2 and you're going to pass it to the next person in your group. Okay, we'll work clockwise. If you're the dealer, there's a discard, and then you grab 2 more, so that's always getting in circulation. circulating with folks. And we'll do this for time. At the end, you're going to be and you're making that final choice. You should have one card that you're holding on to. And yes, we understand many of them are your favorites. You're just happy to hold one of your favorites. Okay? So, I'm going to invite us in a moment, okay? And I'll try to control the chaos a little bit. Okay? But you're going to be joined with one other table, and you're just going to stand up, find someone at that other table, and you're going to share your quote and say, why is this important to you? And how are you feeling about the idea of attitude being so important in the work that we do? So we're going to start, if you have any training with the units of study or when you collaborative, we talk about the sharing train. Right? So the sharing train is going to start these two tables, those two tables, the back two there, these two, tables 7 and 4. Okay? Then we got tables 8 and 14, the two back tables. You two will share. We got 13 and 9. This table and this table. 10 and your table. The back two. Your table and this one. I think if we had it worked out, we'll find out what happened here. We are implementing a variety of mindfulness movements from that type of activity. I invite you, if you'd like, to do a volcano breath. Volcano breath, you just start like this and you go. So again, that was kind of you might have been kind of energized by who you were talking about. So again, it's just an opportunity to breathe and kind of reset yourself. So the activity, lots of quotes, lots of hopefully positive thoughts were in those few minutes going through your head as we think about our important work. There's another thought. When you can fear the challenge, okay? Or you can love it. You can avoid the challenge or you can lean into it. You can hide or you can grow. I invite you to take that quote with you and find it in a good spot in your environment, at your building or at home, to help with thinking of attitude. So let's put this into practice. We just said attitude trumps knowledge and skill. So we're just going to do this for a couple of seconds. Okay? How are you responding to this activity? This is a little bit of algebra. Okay? I'm going to ask, can you think about a row or a column? And what might a shape or a letter represent? And it's going to be a numeral. So if we take the first row, a circle plus a square plus a C equals 17. I invite you to just pause for a second. What's going in your mind? Okay? This is a great time to use the bathroom. So, this is maybe initially something that you're like, I'm not sure about this. What are the other people at my table going to think about who I am or what is my identity around this change? I invite you to just take a couple minutes knowing that attitude is more important. A willingness to try. Lean into it. Okay? Talk with someone next to you. Begin that process of taking this on. The next slide will be the answer. So for those of you that want to keep thinking on this over lunch, you're just going to close your eyes or turn away, okay? But I will give the responses. But let's take a look. We just spent a few minutes looking at some growth mindset quotes. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. Do a little more each day than you think you can possibly do. Believe you can and you're halfway there. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and focus on what could go right. Don't worry, be happy. So, I wanted to give this just again, initially, usually the first time someone sees it, it's kind of that a little bit of maybe initial panic. Again, we all have fixed and growth mindset thoughts in us. It might be your first thought, but for all of us, it wasn't our last thought. We jumped in, we gave it a try, we shared with one another. So when I count down from 3, I will go to the next slide. Again, look down if you're still working on the challenge, okay? 3, 2, 1. Now, for others, it's not yet. Did you get it? So let's take a look at our mindset characteristics.
So you're intelligent.
If we focus specifically on effort or main concern, which is at the top, and also focus on that skills and intelligence. Your reasoning for algebra, I argue, is something that can grow and you can develop. If you did this on a regular basis, your thoughts, your workflow, where to start, would all change. Maybe someone next to you offered a suggestion or idea. Did you like it? Did you use it? Or did you take offense? Oh, doesn't think I can solve it on my own. And maybe some of you did some trial and error. How did you feel about that process with maybe not having the right numeral the first time? Did you treat it as learning? Or again, is that really frustrating for you? With thinking about our attitude, just like mindset can change and it's a decision, there's continued research around optimism and pessimism as well. And if you just naturally tend to kind of go more towards a negative stance, that is something that can change with intentional work around thought and habits. So also in your handout, I included 4 words. And when you have that first thought, it's important to think about, what might I do? When I am tempted to not lean in, when I am a little fearful of what will come next, we can dismiss that thought and just call it for what it is. That's similar to the rejection. I'm saying, no, that's not who I'm going to be today. I'm going to be a risk taker. I'm going to try something new. We can distract ourselves with our environment and other things that are around us. And then again, we can replace that thought with a not yet or a growth mindset thought. So it's not if we're going to have I can't do it or I'm not sure about this moment. It's just when. And then how will we respond? This is also something that will be coming up in the next series, the culture proficiency, that continuum of language, where we're going to actually be able to chart out kind of more of a fixed mindset. There are salaries like that. That family never comes to conferences. That's that idea that we've said that can't change. That's just how it is. The growth mindset says that things can change. There can be new behaviors and practices. This all relates again to that idea of success and failure. When we think of success, we often just see the end of the journey and not all that has happened to get to that point. The perseverance, the sacrifice, the many disappointments, the dedication. So we're going to unpack this a little bit more because sometimes there's some misconceptions with mindset that we are just, yay, make mistakes. And it's okay to fail. Well, let's really unpack that. If you unpack the word fail, first attempted learning, right, that's okay. But we don't want any of our colleagues to be failing. We don't want our students and learners to be failing. We want them really to try to just keep going. Okay? So let's take a look. There's many different ways to unpack what it means to make a mistake. This is just one of them, and it's also included in your handout. Notice that on the one end is your intention. It's either low or it's high, and the learning, notice, is the scale is high to higher. Okay? So you're going to be able to learn through mistakes. So when we talk about being okay with mistakes, we're really not referring to the sloppy ones. Often that's maybe just unprofessional if you have, misspellings in an email or in the newsletter going out. Okay? We're trying to avoid those. What we're trying for is those aha moment mistakes or a stretch mistake where you know a lot's on the line, but you're willing to take that risk. But we're also trying to avoid the high stakes risks. Okay? So that might be that bus driver that decides to speed through the light to try to make it. That's a high risk. Okay? There's also other ways we can talk again about careless mistakes. You can make just adding mistakes a process mistake. You just do something in the wrong order. Or you fail to name the collab form. Right? Or you didn't put in the link to the survey for your parents. This is also another way of looking at mistakes. Sometimes we're just forgetful. We lack the experience, or we didn't know better. It's just that there wasn't a procedure, so you didn't know you were supposed to do this first and then something else. Sometimes mistakes are a surprise, and sometimes they can be punishing. So just when we think about mindset and making mistakes, it is important to just make sure you are aware of what type of mistakes you're talking about. This also fits with success and failure. And again, that fixed mindset, especially Carol Dweck and Joe Bowler's work with high-achieving students, and particularly students that maybe have tendencies around perfectionism, again, are less likely to try, okay, and just want to have things stay as they are. So let's take a look. Success or failure. There's 4 boxes. I invite you to choose one of them. Read the situation. Do you think it was a failure, or was it a success, or was it both? You can turn to your neighbor and let them know your thinking. Can you read it from the back? Okay. And if we go back to what makes 100%, if these individuals were focused on knowledge and that if I was good at writing, if I really was a good athlete, I'd just be able to do it, and I'd be perfect and not make any mistakes. We might not have the contributions from these individuals. their initiatives, okay? But all that was underneath, and all three of these individuals had a growth mindset, that attitude, the best is yet to come. Okay? I can do a little more than I think I can tomorrow. I'm going to show a little video clip. We'll show on the clip that it's like 10 minutes. We're only going to see the beginning part of it. The speaker is going to talk about 3 reasons why it's important to fail. We'll just watch 2 of them, but I will give you the 3rd reason at the end. Okay? So as I get the clip ready, be thinking about if you were asked, if a student or a parent or someone at home said, hey, well, why is it important to fail? Why can't I just do it perfect the first time? Okay? What might be your response?
Hi, this is Derek Sivers from Sivers.org, and this is Why You Need to Fail. I'm often invited to speak at conferences full of famous, successful people. They're all leaders of some sort. People look up to them. They're acclaimed and accomplished. They have a great reputation. Their struggling years of failure are behind them. And that's the problem. When you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. If you're not failing, you're not learning. So let's take a lesson from this and talk about 3 big reasons why you need to fail. First, if you're not failing, you're not learning. You know, the way you build muscle in a gym is you do something a little out of your capability so that the tiny little muscle fibers actually tear. Then, as they repair themselves, they rebuild a little stronger and a little bigger to adapt. That's why they say no pain, no gain, and it's the same with the brain. Look at these 2 sets of words for a few seconds. The second set is intentionally missing a letter in each word. So take 10 seconds to read both sides, okay? So tests show that when quizzed afterwards, people remembered 3 times as many words from the second column, the one that was missing letters. It's like when you saw the words with the blank spaces, you struggled with it for just a second, then you figured it out. But that 1 second of struggle made all the difference. To learn something effectively, you must make mistakes and pay attention to those mistakes. So let's look at a similar test. Everyone was given a paper with some facts. Group A studied the paper for 4 separate sessions. Group B studied only once, but then was tested 3 times and shown their mistakes after each test. A week later, both groups were tested, brought back and tested again. Group B scored 50% higher than Group A. That means that they had studied 1/4 as much, but learned far more. So, making mistakes, being in over your head and failing, this is proven to teach better than lots of advanced preparation. This is not just for memorizing, but for anything. Practicing music, for example. I went to Berklee College of Music, and our music teacher taught us that if what we're doing in the practice room sounds good, then it's not practice. Now I get what he meant. So some students would just play what they know, start to finish. If I was in the practice room, sometimes I could hear the student in the next room just playing everything start to finish perfectly. But then, one time, I was in the practice room next to one of the best musicians in school, and I was surprised to hear that everything coming out of his practice room just sounded like short phrases that making lots of mistakes each time, like so lots of mistakes focusing on tiny little phrases. So doing what you know is fun, but it doesn't improve you. The most effective way to improve at anything is to find what you're not good at, to find the painful, the difficult activities that will make you better, then do those things over and over again until you've got it. If you're interested in this, there are 2 great books about it. The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle, and Talent is Overrated by Jeff Colvin. So, Michael Jordan, basketball legend, your turn.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
Okay, so reason number one why you need to fail is because if you're not failing, you're not learning. But it would be a shame for you to think these are just little academic experiments like, okay, I'll remember that next time I need to memorize word pairs. So instead, try to extrapolate this to your real life. Deliberate practice to improve skill is a fact. It's a neurological reality. So knowing that, how would you apply this to your life? If you just keep doing what you're good at, you're coasting, you've plateaued. You need to make a real effort to fail more. But a voice inside you is probably saying, failure is not an option. You're the top in your field. You can't throw away a career of hard work. You have a reputation to protect. You have an image to uphold. You have an impeccable track record. People would lose respect for you, right? Well, let's look at a very big deal. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset think that talent comes from an ingrained level of ability. They think, I'm good at this, or I'm not good at this. They see it as fixed, that you either are or you aren't. Some people are born artists, some people are born leaders, some people are just good with numbers and some aren't. People with a growth mindset think that with hard work, anyone can master anything. They think, I got it because I worked hard at it. They see the starting point as moot. It doesn't matter if someone took to a skill a little more naturally at a young age. Absolutely anyone can catch up and surpass the so-called naturals. So 2 big reasons why this matters. Number 1, the fixed mindset hurts you. There was a 2-part test given to a bunch of students. The first part was intentionally easy, and the second part was impossibly hard. So it created a situation of initial encouragement, then certain failure. After each person failed the test, they were asked what they planned to do before the next test. Those with a growth mindset said they would study harder for the next test. Those with a fixed mindset said they would study less for the next test. After all, this is something they're obviously just not good at, so why waste their time? So reason number 2 why this matters, parents pay attention here, is where this mindset comes from. If a child is told well-meaning things like, you're so smart, you're a brilliant child, you're so great at this, you have always been a math whiz, then it forms the fixed mindset view of the world. But instead of praising the person, if they're praised on their effort, like telling them, you must have worked really hard, or let's look at how to improve that, then that forms a growth mindset view of the world. So what's fascinating is that it can be changed in an instant. So remember this 2-part test, right? So it starts very easy and gets impossibly hard. Now, they did an experiment to see how a simple 6-word comment would affect their score if somebody were to take this test twice, a 6-word comment given to them after the first time. So randomly, half were praised for their effort. They were told, you must have worked really hard. The other half was praised for their intelligence. You must be smart at this. That was it, just a 6-word comment after the first test before the second. Those that were praised for their effort improved their initial score by 30% when taking it the next time. But those that were praised for their intelligence had their score decline by 20% in the second test, all because of 6 short words. So to me, this is a huge point. People with a fixed mindset who think, I am good at this, I'm just good at this, they collapse in the face of failure. If you're interested in this, please read Carol Dweck's great book called Mindset, and Josh Waitzkin's book called The Art of Learning.
Stop it there. And again, the 2 reasons so far has been that it's learning, fixed and growth mindset. We want the growth mindset. And the 3rd reason is life. Okay? Things happen, right? And we need to be ready to prepare for those things. So let's take a look when we think about success and failure. And so let's take a look at your handout there. And you'll notice that there is a spot for a now, a not yet, and a strong. And that it looks similar to these rows.
Oh, thank you.
On those rows, as the video was saying, that sometimes we need to lean into something. I invite you to think about a personal example or professional for those areas. What is something that right now is a little challenging? What is something that is just a not yet, but you would like to improve? And what's something that's just really strong, that through a lot of effort you've become just able to do it successfully or have been recognized due to just continued work at trying to improve? A personal or professional example. I like the rope example, and this can be helpful with any age person and just kind of as a mental idea of what's actually happening in our brain as we engage in learning. And I wanted to actually show a little clip of our brain and neurons actually forming when you're doing something new. And so this little video, again, is the cutting edge science of changing our minds. Again, that idea of our brains can grow as we challenge ourselves. So let's take a look. It's just going to be real quick here. Again, you can deliberately be changing your brain, and that's actually going on. To me, that's amazing. As we try new things, push ourselves, lean in. But again, as we don't do something, those connections get lost. And sometimes that's a good thing. Maybe a habit that we don't want anymore gets lost. But again, if we don't continue with something, that can also happen again. So again, in that reflection, not yet, that's okay, because we can actually be changing our brain. These next slides just show a little bit of some work that's happening across the district. One is the language of the strong and not yet connections in our brain, asking learners, what is inside your brain, what do you think your brain looks like? And then also using that vocabulary. What is a strong connection that you have? And then what is a not yet? And then also just remembering what to think about when we get stuck. And our environment can play a big part in helping students work through this. And so again, there's a difference between not knowing and not knowing yet. Some of the pictures here are showing just some classroom norms. This again relates to our nested learning. And also some work happening at K-12 level is new norms in math classrooms. One of them is mistakes is valuable. This is something I had a chance to work with a middle school professional learning team at one of our district schools. And they said, I don't think our students feel we believe that. And so they actually started a bulletin board in their math rooms that said mistakes are important. So students can actually put up work and they can highlight what they learned from that. So a lot of these things are, again, we might believe them, but it's our messaging that there's some great posters that can be displayed. Students can make their own. There can be studies around people that have failed but succeeded in the end. This is an example of one of those math classrooms where even just providing the language for students. When you're thinking this, say this instead. Dismiss it, reject it, replace it. There's also an element, though, sometimes some of us just struggle, even though we have tried really hard. And so there's an element of connecting with that and letting students or yourself know that it's okay if you can't do it now, but you could if they're not yet. At this point, I'm going to have us take a look here at promoting a positive mindset in the classroom. And part of that is what we display and what we do. So in your packet, there's one more activity that is in a sheet protector, and it's called Mind the Gap. And there are about 7 sheets that say it's a poster value versus a real practice value. For those that have maybe traveled abroad, you may have been to a place where you've heard this repeated. Mind the Gap is a safety comment. And so when we think about, you might have done the sword, and thinking, yes, I believe this, but how does it really look? So I'm going to ask that at your table you won't be able to go through all of the sheets, but there is a number in the lower corner. And what you'll do with someone next to you, you'll read, this is what the poster says, and this is what our classroom norm is, or as a program, we've decided this is something we believe. But then on the other side, it says this is what actually is practiced. And then below it says how to close the gap. How do we align our beliefs with our practice? And then there always says, what are other strategies? So your goal is to just choose 1 or 2 and really do some reflection. What does this really look like in my classroom, in my home, in my situation? So let's mind the gap. One of the quotes again that we reviewed together today was that it's what we think that makes the biggest impact. And we know that our thoughts impact our words, impact our actions. And so over the next few weeks before winter break, I would encourage you to think about where there might be gaps and what might be some ways that you want to move from a fixed mindset and cultivating that growth mindset. And what is the evidence, if you were to survey or be able to connect with a student or a family member, would they say, yes, There's evidence in the meetings that you run, or the emails that you send, or the conversations in the lounge in our building that we're a growth mindset staff. And this will be a great opportunity during the culture proficiency, is where we actually begin to collect language. And some of the language that we use is more on that fixed mindset. So again, there's an opportunity to think about, that's our first thought, but not our last thought. This was a quote that I skipped over and wanted to come back to. If we only did things that were easy, we wouldn't actually be learning anything. We'd just be practicing things we already knew. And as we think about, as a district, continuous improvement and growing professionally, how might we support one another? To be able to take a risk or try something new. I know for myself, in my workspace, I have a picture of a rotting vegetable. Because I really like that quote in that video. When you, I don't want to rot, okay? So I want to keep growing and improving. So be thinking about your environment. What might you need to add in order to do that? Now, another big piece is our language. That last video talked a little bit about praise and feedback that we give to students. And one of the biggest takeaways in some of the newer books that are out, perhaps you are familiar with Nurture Shock, that came out a little while ago, but the very opening Nurture Shock, New Thinking About Children, the very first chapter was all about thinking about the inverse power of praise and how our words and feedback make a big difference. There's another book that I'm referencing today called Fall Down 7 Times, Get Up 8, Teaching Kids to Succeed. And in this particular book, it talks about feedback in our language and feedback that changes perspectives. So imagine going into classroom meetings. Boy, this is hard. This is fun. Do we hear that? Oh, I'm sorry. This is way too easy. No fun. Let's do something more challenging so we can learn from it. Let's talk about what we struggled with today and learn from it. I'll go first. Mistakes are so interesting. Here's a wonderful mistake. Let's see what we can learn from it. Again, if these aren't the words that we're saying, we might be, again, reinforcing the idea that mistakes aren't valuable or challenges aren't something you lean into. This is also coming out all around us. If you know of someone or have a family member at Thomson Reuters, ask them about the mood elevator. This is a new book that's relatively new book coming out. When you visit Thomson Reuters, literally in the elevator, but then also on the wraparound columns, is this visual. And as a culture, they're talking with one another that if we're irritated or angry or we're stressed or there's just no hope, I can't change, this is just how it's going to be, we're less productive. We're not living at our best, but when we're at the top of the mood elevator, think about those connections with a growth mindset. We're hopeful, we're patient, we know that with time, we're a little more flexible, more resourceful. Hey, that didn't work, let's try this. We're more creative and also grateful. So in general, when we think about growth and fixed mindset, and that mindset matters, is really about hope. And there's more and more research on hope projects when we as a district are taking on more learning about trauma-informed schools and how living in trauma, that there's often a self-perception around identity and how things might be different. Hope is important. So let's take a look at that quick sort. And I'd like you to look through that and think about, might there be one of those items relating to leading and teaching with a growth mindset that you want to keep at the forefront? And as you do that sort, you're going to be asked to be thinking about a takeaway, and there's one final set of materials in your folders, and they're blue with some stickers.
And I feel like if we don't put stuff on that, we're not going to have
So you're looking for these items. I'll give a little visual and then allow time for some work.
I actually do reference the other.
Often on a day like this, you've got great plans. Yes, I'm going to do this, going to do that. In a few minutes, it'll be lunch. And then the rest of the day, and then the weekend. All of a sudden, it's Monday. Oh, maybe next time, okay? So I've been doing a lot of research on implementation science. If you write something down, you're 25% more likely to do it. If you tell someone out loud, okay, that even increases the percentage that you will take an idea to action. So with the team at Community Ed, we're going to give you an opportunity to get a mindset checkup at a random date, okay, in the weeks to come. So what you'll do is, on this side, it's a note to yourself. What is something that's your takeaway, a commitment, one of those cultivating a growth mindsets that you are hoping is going to be a part of your environment, your beliefs, your practices? Write that note to yourself. Then you're going to fold it up like a little booklet. One side has that mindset checkup image. The other side invites you to put your first name, last name, your building location. You have some stickers. Close that up. This is your thinking, your ideas. And Khia's team will be sending this in the inter-district mail, again, at a random time. And you'll get it before Winter break, after Winter break. So it will be a reminder of your thinking and learning today. Mindset. I'm going to give a few logistics around supplies and what you're invited to take with you today. And then I have some closing slides for us. So one, again, feel free to take any of the small cardstock quotes, especially the one that Eva picked out. At the bottom it says contact me. If there's some supplies at the table, often there's requests for the quotes. Feel free to email me if that is a Word document that I'm happy to send out. I actually have several versions, whether it's an optimism set or a fixed growth mindset. So if you'd like that step-up card, feel free to take it from your table today or contact me and I will send that to you so you have it. Also, your handout's yours and those cultivating a growth mindset tips. And that was part of your short. You're welcome to take those as well. Again, please put your notes, self-notes back in that folder. So let's take a look here when you think about the key takeaways. And something I just wanted to leave with us is remembering that attitude, that things can change, is so important. So I have a short video clip, and I hope this inspires us for the rest of today and beyond. And take a look at that to your own self-check. When you first saw the title of the video, what came to mind? Did you believe it? Or is there something, well, not anything, but something, but not anything? Come on, Cathy. I challenge you, what was coming to mind that you thought, well, anything but that? Maybe that's what you might need to lean into when you more ask. So let's take a look at this.
Nobody's born smart. We all start at zero. Can't talk, can't walk, certainly can't do algebra. Adding, reading, riding a bike. Nobody's good at anything at first. There was a time when Einstein couldn't count to 10. And Shakespeare had to learn his ABCs just like the rest of us. Thankfully, we're born to learn. Slowly, surely, you stumble, slip, crawl, fall, and fail, and fall. Frustrating, confusing, trying, struggling, until one day, you walk. One foot in front of the other, one idea on top of the next, each wrong answer making your brain a little bit stronger. Failing is just another word for growing, and you keep going. This is learning. Knowing that you'll get it, even if you haven't gotten it yet. Because the most beautiful, complex concepts in the whole universe are built on basic ideas that anyone, anywhere, can understand. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you only have to know one thing. You can learn anything.
And that certainly, I hope, was a takeaway message today, that we have a choice. Mindsets are just thoughts in our head. They're powerful, but there's something in our minds, and we can change our minds. And we can also help others change their minds. So thank you for the work that you do with your student groups and the ways that you take on this learning, personally and professionally. I enjoyed joining you today.